If you're new here and you enjoy true scary stories about isolated highways and motels where you're never truly alone, hit subscribe. I post twice a week. Now let's get into it. Story 1. The Overnight Stop by Cole. I was driving through Wyoming when the blizzard hit. The snow came fast, violent, sudden, unreal. 1 minute I could see the road lines and the taillights ahead of me. The next, everything turned white, like someone had thrown a sheet over the world. My name is Cole. I've been a long-haul trucker for 11 years. I've driven through rain, fog, hail, dust storms, conditions that make four-wheelers panic and pull off. But this was different. The wind was pushing my rig sideways, not a gentle drift, an actual shove like a hand on the trailer. My wipers couldn't keep up. The snow glued itself to the glass faster than the blades could scrape it away. Inside the cab, the Qualcomm unit on my dash started screaming. Hot OS violation imminent, 15 minutes remaining. That digital leash meant I had no choice. I had to stop, or the company would pull my license. My dispatcher radioed in a little after 9 p.m. Highway 287's closing. States ordering all trucks to pull off. Find somewhere to wait it out. There was no arguing with that. You don't win against weather like this. You just survive it. I found a motel about 2 miles before the roadblock. Pine Ridge Motor Lodge. The neon sign was half dead. Only the M and O were lit, the rest swallowed by snow and neglect. I parked my rig as close to the building as I could and stepped out into the wind. The cold hit my face like broken glass. I hunched down, grabbed my overnight bag, and ran for the front office with my shoulders turned into the gusts. Inside, it was too warm, not comfortable, stale, like the heat had been running for years without fresh air. An old woman sat behind the counter. She didn't look up when I walked in. She was watching a small TV with the volume off, eyes locked on moving mouths that made no sound. I stood there for a few seconds, waiting for her to acknowledge me. She didn't. Need a room, I said. She finally looked at me. Her eyes were tired, not unfriendly, just empty, like she'd already seen whatever comes to places like this. 70, she said. I handed her my card. She swiped it, slid it back, and placed a brass key on the counter. Blank ring, no key card, no room number tag, just a key. Room 7, she said. End of the building, checkouts at 10. That was all. I took the key and turned to leave, and that's when I noticed the pickup truck, parked 3 spaces from my rig, dark blue, Wyoming plates. But what caught my attention wasn't the color, it was the snow. Everything in the lot was starting to gather a thin layer. My steps had left tracks. My rig's hood and mirrors were already frosting. But the pickup's windshield looked wrong, not clean, just less buried than it should have been. Like it had been parked there recently, or like someone had brushed it off and then left it again. I told myself it was nothing. First thought, another trucker who didn't want to idle his engine all night. Second thought, the owner's vehicle. Either way, none of my business. I headed toward room 7. The wind was screaming now, punching snow into drifts against the building. Room 7 sat at the far end of the L-shaped row, tucked away where the light barely reached. I put the key in the lock and turned. Nothing. I jiggled it. Still nothing. I had to put my shoulder into the door while twisting the key, like the lock needed pressure in just the right direction to cooperate. Finally, it clicked. The door swung open. The room smelled like dust and old carpet. Dry, stale, like a place that never fully aired out. There was a queen bed, a TV that looked like it belonged in the 90s, and a radiator by the wall clicking softly, finding its rhythm. I closed the door behind me and tried the deadbolt. It slid, then stopped. Halfway, I tried again. Same thing, like it hit the same internal notch every time. I pulled on the door. It didn't open. Good enough, I told myself. That was my first mistake. I kicked off my boots, dropped my bag, and sat on the bed. The radiator clicked in a steady pattern. The wind howled outside like it had teeth. I lay back and closed my eyes. I didn't fall asleep right away. Not with that weather, not with that lock that didn't feel like a lock. But exhaustion always wins eventually. Sometime around 11:30, I heard knocking. 3 hard knocks on the window. I sat up so fast my neck hurt. My heart was already pounding, like it had been waiting for a reason. A man stood outside. Dark hoodie, hood up. Snow was collecting on his shoulders and the top of his hood like icing. He knocked again. "Hey," he shouted through the glass. My car broke down. Phone's dead. Can you help me out? I didn't move. It wasn't what he said. It was how he stood, too still. Too squared up to the window. Like he wasn't cold. Like he wasn't desperate. Like he was waiting to see what kind of person I was. Go to the front desk, I yelled. He didn't respond. He just stared at me for a few seconds longer than he should have. Then he turned and walked toward the parking lot, disappearing into the white. I waited until he was gone. Then I got up and checked the deadbolt again, still stopped halfway. I dragged the desk chair closer to the door, not braced under the handle, not wedged tight, just there, like it would matter. Then I shut the curtains tight. No gaps, no peeking. I lay back down, but I didn't sleep. The radiator clicked, the wind screamed, and every time the radiator clicked, my brain insisted it sounded like metal being tested. At some point, I drifted off without realizing it. And then I woke up freezing, not the heater quit freezing. Freezing like the room had been opened to the storm. I blinked, confused. My blanket was gone, not kicked to the bottom of the bed, not on the floor, not bunched at my feet. Gone. I pushed myself up, scanning the room. That's when I saw him, a figure standing at the foot of the bed. Tall, still, just a dark shape cut out against the faint grey light leaking around the curtain's edge. I opened my mouth to scream. He spoke first. Keep your breathing even. His voice was calm, low, almost gentle, like he was talking to an animal he didn't want to startle. My whole body locked. I couldn't get a full breath. Where's your wallet? He asked. In my jacket, I whispered. On the chair. He moved. Quiet, confident footsteps. I heard the jacket unzip. He pulled the wallet out and flipped through it. Then, after a pause, he asked, fuel card. That hit harder than wallet, because it meant he knew what I was. He knew what a trucker carries. My tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth. In the same pocket, I managed. I heard him take it. Another pause. Phone. I didn't answer fast enough. He stepped closer to the bed, and I felt him in the air, like the room tightened around his presence. On the table, I said quickly. He stayed silent for a moment. Then he turned away. I heard him move to the small table, heard the soft tap of my phone being picked up. Then he said, almost casually, you didn't lock me out. A statement, not a threat. Like he was grading me. He walked to the door. I heard the chair scrape, not dragged across the room, just nudged out of the way with a foot. Then the doorknob turned. The door opened like it had never been locked, and he was gone. No slam, no rush, just a shift of air and the sound of the wind reclaiming the hallway. I didn't move for 5 minutes, maybe more. When I finally sat up, my muscles screamed like I'd been holding myself together with wire. I ran to the door and tried the deadbolt again. It slid halfway, same notch, same stop. It had never actually locked. He didn't break in. I had just never locked him out. His voice was calm, low, almost gentle, like he was talking to an animal he didn't want to startle. My whole body locked. I couldn't get a full breath. Where's your wallet? He asked. In my jacket, I whispered. On the chair. He moved. Quiet, confident footsteps. I heard the jacket unzip. He pulled the wallet out and flipped through it. Then, after a pause, he asked, fuel card. That hit harder than wallet, because it meant he knew what I was. He knew what a trucker carries. My tongue stuck to the roof of my mouth. In the same pocket, I managed. I heard him take it. Another pause. Phone. I didn't answer fast enough. He stepped closer to the bed, and I felt him in the air, like the room tightened around his presence. On the table, I said quickly. He stayed silent for a moment. Then he turned away. I heard him move to the small table, heard the soft tap of my phone being picked up. Then he said, almost casually, you didn't lock me out. A statement, not a threat. Like he was grading me. He walked to the door. I heard the chair scrape, not dragged across the room, just nudged out of the way with a foot. Then the doorknob turned. The door opened like it had never been locked, and he was gone. No slam, no rush, just a shift of air and the sound of the wind reclaiming the hallway. I didn't move for 5 minutes, maybe more. When I finally sat up, my muscles screamed like I'd been holding myself together with wire. I ran to the door and tried the deadbolt again. It slid halfway, same notch, same stop. It had never actually locked. He didn't break in. I had just never locked him out. My hands shook so hard I dropped my phone. I ran to the front office. The old woman was still there, Someone just broke into my room, I said. Call the police. She picked up the phone and dialed. It took them 45 minutes to arrive. The snow was still coming down hard, covering the lot like it wanted to erase everything. They checked the security footage. The camera caught a man in a hood and mask. No face, no plates. And when the officer rewound and played it again slower, you could see something that made my stomach turn. The man never struggled with my door. He approached it like he already knew exactly what it would do. Outside, the dark blue pickup was gone. I told the officers about it. They asked the woman at the desk. She shook her head, said she didn't see anyone else check in, said she hadn't noticed any pickup when I checked in, said I was the only guest that night. I didn't sleep again. I sat in my truck with the engine running until sunrise, staring at Pine Ridge like it might blink. When the roads finally opened, I was gone the second I was allowed to roll. And I kept thinking about the man at the window, not because he needed help, because he didn't. I think he was there to find out if I'd open the door, to see if I was the kind of tired that makes mistakes, to confirm I was alone. And when I didn't let him in, he didn't get angry. He didn't try harder. He just left, like he was reporting back, like he'd only been checking the quality of the lock, or the quality of me. I still think about that motel, not because of what he took, but because of what I told myself when that deadbolt stopped halfway and I decided it didn't matter. It is good enough. But it wasn't. Because the scariest part wasn't that someone got into my room. It's that I helped them. The second I accepted a lock that only worked halfway. Story 2, Room 6, by Jenna. The storm hit somewhere between St. Louis and nowhere. One moment the rain was manageable. The next, it was a wall. I thought the storm was the worst part of that night. It wasn't. My name is Jenna. I was driving back from my grandmother's funeral with my brother Tyler. We'd been on the road for 6 hours. Our Rottweiler Duke was in the back seat, his head on his paws, watching the rain. The radio cut out around 10 p.m. Just static. Then a voice broke through with a flash flood warning. Highway 54 was closing ahead. Tyler checked his phone. There's a motel 2 miles east. Lakeside Inn, he said. I didn't want to stop. I wanted to get home, but the rain was so heavy my wipers were useless. I could barely see the hood of my own car. We took the exit. The motel sat at the end of a gravel road, surrounded by trees. Behind it, through the rain, I could see the dark shape of a lake, and beyond that, an old building, maybe a barn or a storage shed. Hard to tell in the dark. There were no other cars in the lot, at least none I could see through the rain and the trees. We parked close to the front office and ran inside. Duke stayed in the car. He hates thunder. Still, I hated leaving him alone more. The office was small and yellow lit. An old couple stood behind the counter. The woman smiled when we walked in. She was friendly, talked too much about the weather, asked where we were headed. The man said nothing. He just stood there slightly behind her, watching us. His eyes followed me when I moved. When I signed the register, I felt him staring at my hand. Room 6, the woman said. End of the building. Quiet spot. I thanked her and turned to leave. That's when Duke started barking from the car. Loud, aggressive. I'd never heard him bark like that at strangers. Tyler laughed it off. He's just scared of the thunder, he said. But when I looked back, the old man was still watching me. He hadn't blinked. We got Duke and headed to the room. Room 6 was at the far end of the single-story building. The rain hammered the metal awning above the door. Lightning flashed and lit up the lake behind us. Inside, the room smelled like mildew and old sheets. 2 beds, a lamp, a TV that looked like it hadn't worked in years, but it was dry. I double-checked the lock. Deadbolt and chain. Both seemed to work. Duke paced the room for a few minutes before settling near the door. He kept his ears up. His eyes stayed on the gap at the bottom. Tyler passed out within minutes. Funeral exhaustion. I tried to sleep but couldn't. The rain was deafening. Every few seconds, thunder rolled through the walls. And somewhere in the noise I kept hearing something else. A rhythm that didn't belong. I didn't want to go near the window, so I pulled up my dashcam's live feed on my phone. The connection was grainy, but I saw him. The old man from the front desk was standing in the rain, right in front of my bumper, staring at our door. My stomach dropped. I wanted to wake Tyler, but the screen froze, buffering. When the feed came back 5 seconds later, the lot was empty. Just rain. Had I imagined it? Was it the funeral exhaustion playing tricks? I didn't wake him. I couldn't be sure. So I just sat there clutching my phone, watching the empty lot, terrified that the buffering had hidden something else. Around 1 a.m., Duke stood up.
He didn't bark.
He just stared at the door and let out a low, continuous growl, the kind he only makes when something is wrong. I sat up. That's when I saw the light, a pale blue glow seeping through the crack under the door, not flickering like lightning, steady, like someone was standing outside with a phone or flashlight pointed down. Then I heard the whispers. I couldn't make out words, just voices. More than one, low and layered, like people murmuring through a wall. I held my breath. Duke stopped growling. His whole body went stiff. It lasted maybe 3 seconds. The light disappeared. The whispers stopped. I sat frozen for 10 minutes, maybe longer. Duke didn't move either. Eventually I convinced myself it was nothing. Maybe other guests, cars tucked out back, hidden by the trees and the rain. Maybe the owners checking something. The storm was loud enough to make anything sound strange. I lay back down but didn't close my eyes. At 3 a.m., Tyler woke up. "Do you hear that?" he whispered. I listened. At first, just rain. Then I heard it. A scratching sound. Slow, rhythmic. Coming from the wall directly behind my headboard. Not outside the wall. Inside it, Duke started barking. Loud, sharp, relentless. The scratching stopped. We both sat frozen, staring at the wall. Then the doorknob moved. Slowly. Quietly, like someone testing it. The deadbolt held. The chain held. The knob stopped turning. Silence. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Duke was locked on the door now. Not shaking. Not backing down. His whole body was rigid. Muscles coiled. A low growl rumbling in his chest. I grabbed his collar and held him back. If he charged the door, whoever was out there would know we were awake. I crept to the window and pulled the curtain back an inch. Through the rain, I saw a figure walking toward the old building behind the motel. Tall, slow, head down. Lightning flashed, and I saw a second figure, standing still, exactly in line with our door, facing the motel, facing our room. "We're leaving," Tyler said. He was already putting on his shoes. We grabbed our bags. I kept one hand on Duke's collar. He wanted to go through that door like a weapon. I couldn't let him. We didn't turn on any lights. The office was dark when we passed it. No one inside. The open sign was off. We got in the car, and I drove. Duke sat in the back seat, still rigid, still watching the motel through the rear window. I didn't look back until we hit the highway. In the rearview mirror, I saw the motel lights go out, one by one, like someone was walking through, flipping switches. We pulled into a gas station 30 miles away and sat there until sunrise. That morning, Tyler called the local police to report what happened. The officer was quiet for a moment. Then he said Lakeside Inn's been closed for 3 years. Condemned. Tyler looked at me. I felt cold. "That's not possible," I said. "We stayed there. I paid." "Check your card," the officer said. "We've seen this before. They set up fake fronts, skim the card when you swipe, hit out-of-state plates because you won't notice until you're home." I opened my banking app. My stomach dropped. 7 pending charges, none of them mine. Electronics, gift cards, gas stations 3 states away, all from the last 4 hours. They never wanted us. They wanted my card, and whatever was behind that wall, whatever they were waiting for, that was for the ones who didn't leave in time. I still think about the woman at the counter, how she smiled, how she talked too much, how she kept me distracted while her husband watched. And I think about the man, how he never said a word, how he never blinked, how he was the one who took my card. Duke still won't sleep near walls. Neither will I. All right, one more story left, and I'll warn you now, this last one is the reason I made this video. But before we get there, drop a comment. Story 1 or Story 2? Which one got under your skin more? The stranger in the blizzard, or the motel that didn't exist? I read and answer every single one. Now the final story. Story 3, The Mirror, by John. I'm John. My girlfriend and I needed a weekend away. Her name is Chloe. We'd been together for 2 years. Work had been brutal for both of us. 12-hour days. No time for each other. We found a place online, Mountain View Lodge, a small motel tucked into the hills about 3 hours from the city. The photos looked decent. Clean rooms, a view of the valley, $65 a night. We booked 2 nights, Friday and Saturday. The drive up was nice. Winding roads, fall colors everywhere. Chloe played music and I drove. We got there around 4 p.m. The motel was smaller than it looked online. A single-story building with maybe 10 rooms. A gravel parking lot. A front office with a flickering vacancy sign. Only one other car in the lot. The guy at the front desk was friendly, maybe mid-30s. Flannel shirt, beard. He smiled when we walked in. "Weekend getaway?" he asked. "Something like that," I said. He handed me a key. Room 5, best view in the house. We grabbed our bags and found the room. It was basic. A queen bed, a small TV, a bathroom with a shower, and a large mirror on the wall facing the bed. Chloe dropped her bag on the floor. "Not bad for $65, she said. I agreed. We unpacked, went for a hike, came back, showered, ordered pizza from the only place that delivered up there. That night, we watched a movie on my laptop. Then we turned off the lights. I won't go into details, but we were a couple on a weekend trip. You can fill in the blanks. Afterward, Chloe fell asleep fast. I stayed up for a bit. Something felt off. I couldn't explain it. The room was quiet, too quiet. I looked at the mirror across from the bed. It was big, almost the entire wall. In the dark, it looked like a window into nothing. I stared at it for a while. Then I told myself I was being paranoid. I closed my eyes and slept. The next morning, everything was fine. We had breakfast at a diner down the road, went on another hike, took photos, laughed. It felt like the trip we needed. That night, same routine, dinner, movie, lights off. I remember looking at the mirror again before falling asleep. Something about it bothered me. The way it caught the moonlight, the way it seemed darker than the rest of the room, but I shook it off. Sunday morning, we checked out. The same guy was at the front desk. Same smile. "Hope you enjoyed your stay," he said. "We did," Chloe said. We drove home, unpacked, went back to our lives. I forgot about the motel. A week passed. Normal week. Work, dinner with Chloe. Nothing unusual. Then the email came. I was at work when I saw it. No subject line. The sender was a random string of letters and numbers. I almost deleted it, but the preview showed an image attachment. I opened it. My blood went cold. It was a photo of me and Chloe, in the motel room, in bed. The angle was wrong. It wasn't from a phone. It wasn't a selfie. It was taken from the wall, from where the mirror was. I scrolled down. There was a video attachment. I didn't play it. I didn't need to. The thumbnail told me everything. Below the attachment, one line of text. $5,000, or this goes to everyone you know. Instructions to follow. My hands were shaking. I called Chloe immediately. "Check your email," I said. She did. I heard her gasp. Then she started crying. We went to the police that night, showed them everything, the email, the photo, the motel address. We told them about the mirror, how it faced the bed, how the angle matched perfectly. They took a report, said they'd look into it. 2 weeks later, a detective called. "We checked the room," he said. "The mirror on the wall now is a regular mirror. Standard glass, nothing behind it but drywall. It was different when we were there," I said. "The angle of the photo proves it." "I believe you," he said. "But believing isn't evidence. If they swap the mirror, we can't prove it. The wall behind it is solid. Could have been built last month. Could have been there for 20 years. There's no way to date it without tearing the place apart, and we don't have grounds for that." "What about the owner?" I asked. "Claims he doesn't know anything. Says the mirror's been the same since he bought the place." "He's lying," I said. "Maybe," the detective said, "but maybe isn't enough. He told me to keep records. Don't respond to the sender. Don't pay. Wait and see if they follow through." They did. A week later, Chloe's sister called her. "Someone sent me a video," she said. "I deleted it, but you need to know." Then my boss got one. Then Chloe's co-worker. We couldn't stop it. We couldn't trace it. We couldn't do anything. We both deleted our social media, changed our phone numbers. Chloe quit her job. I transferred to a different office. We moved to a new apartment. New city, new life. But it doesn't feel new. It feels like hiding. I still think about that mirror, how I stared at it in the dark, how something felt wrong but I ignored it. Whoever was on the other side watched us, recorded us, and we never knew. We still don't know who they are. We still don't know if they're done. That's the part that keeps me up at night. Not what they took, but what they might still have. And the fact that somewhere out there, someone has a piece of us we can never get back. If you made it to the end, you're one of us now. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I drop new stories every single week, and the next one might be the one that stays with you. Now I want to know which story disturbed you the most tonight. The man at the window, the empty motel, or the mirror? Drop your answer in the comments. I read and answer all of them. And if you want more, click the video on screen. I picked it just for you. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next one.